Hey Omies, I'm Stephen Ewashkiw, and this is about a 40-minute intermediate level practice. And what we're going to focus on today is your forward folds, but particularly Dandasana or staff pose. And what we're going to focus on is how we engage in that pose and how we can use that engagement to teach us more about how we engage in our life. If that sounds fun, unroll your mat, and I'll meet you there in a few seconds. Please take a comfortable seat and sit up tall. Welcome. Relax your eyes. Look down past the tip of your nose. And if it's relaxing, you can close your eyes here. Start to engage a little more with your breath. What do I mean by that? Just pay attention to your breath a little. Start to make your inhale a little longer and your exhale a little longer so that you just become a little more connected to your breath, that you're consciously engaging with it a little more. Yoga asks us to consciously engage in ways that we may not consciously engage in our regular life. It asks us to challenge ourselves and to take part, to insert ourselves into our practice and insert ourselves into life. And prepare yourself now to insert yourself into your practice, to engage more in your practice today. Please come onto your hands and knees for all fours, for Padasana. Bring your shoulders over your wrists, have your knees just a little behind your hips, and do a few rounds of cat and cow here. So you can do those on your own, or you can do them with me. For cat pose, round your back, move your butt towards your face and stretch your spine. Push through your hands and really stretch your spine. And for cat pose, it's sort of the opposite. Move your chest forward and up, move your hips back and up. And lengthen through your chest, lengthen through your neck. And this is cow, and then cat. Round your back. Cow. Arch your back. And you can move through those two at your own pace. Just getting our spine to wake up. Gonna need it today, especially our lower back is gonna come in really helpful today. Just like every day, super useful to have a lower back. Do two more cat and two more cow. And then come into a neutral spine. Tuck your toes under. And we're gonna do a knees off the ground, all fours. So lift your knees up so they just come off the ground a little and hold there. Hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And downward facing dog. Lift up through your hips. You may need to lengthen your stance a little bit. I definitely need to get a little more length here. Adho Mukha Shavasana, down dog. Straighten your right leg and bend your left knee. Lift your left heel up. Stretch your right heel back and down. Lift up through your right hips, through your right butt. Lift up and back. And then change legs. Bend your right knee. Straighten your left leg. Lift up through your right heel. And then lift up through your left butt. And move it back as you stretch your left heel back and down. Bend both knees, walk your hands back to your feet, and bring your feet to the ground. Come to Uttanasana, the forward fold at the back of your mat. So bend your knees as much as you need to so that you can touch the ground here, and fold forward. We can be in a forward fold pretty easily without engaging very much. And since we're going to practice engaging more today, let's do that. Push down through your feet so that there's this reaction. Your legs start to straighten a little more. That is called ground force reaction. It's got a fancy name. But just push down and then lift through your hips. Stretch your head down towards the ground. Doesn't have to be a perfect Uttanasana because that doesn't exist. It just has to be your Uttanasana, your forward fold here right now. Move your shoulders away from your ears so you can lengthen through your neck a little more. And then bend your knees. Place your hands on your waist and stand up.
Cool. Stand in Tadasana with your feet together. Doesn't have to be in the middle of the mat like I'm doing. That's just so that you get a nice shot for the camera. So feet together. Stretch your arms up overhead. Have your palms facing each other. And bend your knees. Uttita, fierce pose, or chair pose. To come into this a little bit more deeply, really stick your butt back so that you can even start to feel your lower back arch a little maybe. Lift through your upper back. And we're going to get us to be able to go a little bit lower here. Slowly, carefully, lift your heels up off the ground. And because that changes what's happening in your ankle, you can go a little deeper. Ankle, hard to say those words. Now lift up through your chest, stretch up through your arms. Tadasana. That was fun, right? Hands to your sides. Tadasana. Stretch your arms up overhead. And fold forward. Uttanasana.
Stay here, Uttanasana. Push down through your feet. Lift through your sit bones, so the very bottom of your butt, so that you tip forward a little more, and stretch your head down towards your feet. Uttanasana. And step back to downward facing dog. Place your hands flat for Adho Mukha Svanasana, and step it back. Find your down dog. Push your hands down and forward. Lift through your sit bones. So the very bottom of your pelvis. If you don't know where your sit bones are, that's okay. They're those little bumps at the bottom of your pelvis, at the bottom of your butt. Lift those up. Move your hips back. Stretch your heels down. Look between your hands. And step your right foot forward. Come up onto your fingertips. We're going to go into a wide leg forward fold though. So take your right hand onto the inside of your right foot and then turn to the left, turn on your feet. Make your feet parallel to each other and parallel to the short edge of your mat for Prasarita Padottanasana, or wide leg forward fold. Have your hands underneath your shoulders on the ground and fold forward. Bend your knees, everyone, whether you need to in this pose or not. You need to right now because Stephen's asking you to. So bend your knees and then think about the bottom of your butt or where your sit bones are if you know that, and lift up through your sit bones so that your chest moves back a little bit more and it takes you a little deeper into the forward fold. Keep your knees bent. Stretch your head down towards the ground. And then push down through the outer edges of your feet. So the inner edges of your feet engage a little more, and then squeeze your legs towards each other and straighten them, or get them as close to straight as you can. This is just going to help us find a little more length in our hamstrings. And then let's engage the front of our legs as well. Pull up on your knees so your quads are engaging, so the upper legs are engaging, so that you can straighten your legs a little more. Walk your hands forward a little and lift your chest. And then heel toe your feet in towards each other. And bring them all the way together. Bend your knees. Stretch your arms up. Utkatasana. Look up and bring your hands together here. Stay here. Dream big. Lift your heels up. Yeah. Stick your butt back and sit a little deeper. Steady it. Squeeze your legs in. Stick your butt back. Tone your belly.
And slowly keep your heels up, straighten your legs, stretch up, and Tadasana. Tough one, right? I know. Good times. Stand at the top of your mat in Tadasana. Just gotta get our legs working to get us to where we're going today, which is engaging our legs more in some forward folds. Tadasana. Utkatasana. Bend your knees, stretch your arms up. Stick your butt back so it even starts to arch a little, and you can sit a little deeper. Keep your left foot flat on the ground this time and lift your right heel up. So just your right heel lifts, and then step it back for a high lunge or crescent lunge. So step your right leg back, stretch your arms up, and lift up through your torso. Stretch your left knee forward, and straighten your back leg. Really straighten it. Engage your right knee to straighten it. And then let's make that right knee engage more. We're just gonna make your quads engage more. Bend your right knee until it hovers off the ground. And pause. And then use your quads on your right leg. So pull up on your right knee and straighten your right leg again. Crescent lunge. Spin your right heel down. Let's find triangle. Straighten both legs. Stretch your arms out to your sides. Reach forward. And side bend. Touch your left arm outside your left leg. Triangle. Trikonasana. Think about getting a little arch in your lower back and lifting into your upper back and doing a little back bend in your upper back. Pull up on your knees so your legs are crazy straight and come up into warrior two. Keep your right leg straight, bend into your left knee. Pull up on your right knee to make it really strong. And bring your hands down to the ground, lift your right heel, and step it back to plank pose. Chaturanga. Keep your legs straight. Upward facing dog. Engage through your knees. Pull forward and up. And downward facing dog. So this is one that we don't do very often in adventure yoga classes, but I do really like it and practice it a lot. It's called a jump through. So instead of jumping forward, we're going to keep going until we can stretch our legs out and sit down. All you got to do is your best. It can be walk forward, it can be crawl forward, or it can be jump forward. Do your best with me here. Push through your hands, bend your knees, lift your heels, and look forward. Dream big. Imagine yourself sitting down with your legs out in front of you, and then see what happens. Push through your hands, lift through your hips, and float forward. Stretch your legs out in front of you, and bring your hips down, he says, hopefully. Then you can adjust and come back on your mat. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Dandasana. This is where we're really working on today. So take your hands underneath your butt, pull a little bit of the flesh back and out, and place your hands beside your hips. Dandasana is staff pose. It's like a walking stick. It's that kind of staff. Push down through your hands, push down through your heels. Now, remember that work that we were doing in Utkatasana where I asked you to really work to arch your lower back as you were bending your knees? Work to recreate that action here. Arch your lower back. So move the back of your lower back forward and then move the front of your front body back. Ooh, fun, right? Push down through your heels, push the balls of your feet away, and straighten from your knees to engage your quads. Sit up tall, Dandasana. Now I'm just going to slide it forward a little more because we're going to do the reverse of the jump through, which is called, not surprisingly, a jump back. Place your hands on the ground beside your hips, lift your hips, slide your heels back, bend your knees, and this is where you can jump or float or walk your feet one at a time and crawl back. So it's either lift your hips, bring your feet in, and kick them back, or crawl back, however you need to get there. Downward facing dog. Bend your knees, going to Uttanasana, look forward, and float forward. Uttanasana. Stand up and reach up, Urdhva Namaskar.
and Tadasana. Exhale. Steady your breath here. Let's see what happens on the other side. Bend your knees, stretch your arms up. Bring your hands together. Urdhva Namaskar in your arms. Utkatasana. Stick your butt back and sit low. And now lift just your left heel up. Keep your upper body lifting. Step your left leg back for Crescent Lunge. Lift your torso, stretch it up. Push through your left toes and straighten your left leg. And then slowly bend your left knee. Hover it off the ground and hold. And then from your knee, from your left quads, pull up and straighten your left leg. Trikonasana. Spin your left heel down, straighten your right leg, stretch your arms out, reach forward, and triangle. Think about that Utkatasana lower back here. Stick your butt back a little. Work to use that to get the natural curves in your lower back, in your middle back, and then lift and back bend in your upper back. Think about your legs. Pull up on your knees and straighten your legs. And then come up into Warrior Two. Bend in your right knee and lift it up. Push through your left leg, stretch out through your fingers, and smile. Bring your hands down, step it back to plank, and lower. Chaturanga Dandasana. Straighten your legs and up dog. Push through your feet, engage your knees, and downward facing dog. And now that you know the jump through is coming, it's probably just a little easier to handle the whole idea of it. And every time you practice it, right, it changes. So let's see what happens this time. Push through your hands, bend your knees, lift your heels, look forward, and jump through. Stretch your legs out, sit down. Dandasana. Push your hands down beside your hips, sit up tall. Push through your heels. Push the balls of your feet away. Think about your knees, engage your knees. It's one of the reasons I really like wearing shorts when I'm practicing is I can actually see the muscles in my legs. And I can see if my quads are engaging or not. Because we do need to take this idea of engaging in our practice more into our practice. It's not just the theme for today, and it's not just, oh, it's a nice idea. I can sit here with my legs stretched straight out. You can sit here with your legs stretched straight out, not doing a whole lot of work, right? Or we can take part. Push down through your heels, push the balls of your feet away, engage your knees so that you can pull up on them and fire up the muscles of your quads. Those are the muscles that actively straighten our legs. This is injecting ourselves into our practice. This is what I'm talking about. And this is what makes Dandasana staff pose, not just sit down pose. It's probably enough time in Dandasana. Jump back, downward facing dog. Push down through your hands, lift through your hips, slide your heels in, and then bring them back. Lift through your core, take your legs back, and find your down dog. Bend your knees, look forward, and float forward. Uttanasana. Stand up and reach up. Urdhva Namaskar. And Tadasana. Stretch your arms up overhead. Fold forward. Sit down. Oh, that one's not so bad. And lie down on your back. So we don't just need our lower back to be mobile for our forward folds, but we also need it to be strong because it helps us find those forward folds. But we need strength in our lower back in order to be able to do that. Push down through your heels here. Push down through your butt. Arch your lower back so that it comes off the ground a little. And then take your hands onto the front of your body. Touch the bottom of your ribs. If the bottom of your ribs are doing anything similar to what mine are doing, they're probably lifting up away from the ground and even opening up a bit. As your lower back arches, this is going to be your natural tendency, ribs lifting and opening up. But we want to have our torso solid and strong and supporting us to hold us up, even while we get our lower back working. So to do that, we need to arch our lower back like you're doing here, but take your ribs and move them in a little and down towards the ground without rounding your lower back. Our work is to keep that, and take your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, bring your elbows down to the ground if possible. Arch your lower back a little, move the front of your ribs in and down, keeping your lower back arching. If this next exercise is too intense for you with both legs, you can alternate legs. Squeeze your legs together, arch your lower back, move the front of your ribs in and down, and lift your legs up. Leg extensions. Lower your legs until they hover off the ground, but slowly do that. As you pass about 45 degrees, your lower back is going to really want to arch and your ribs are really going to want to lift. So draw your ribs in and down, but keep your lower back engaged. When you get your heels to hover off the ground, bring them back up. Keep doing these. Straighten your legs as best as you can. Arch into your lower back, move the front of your ribs in and down, and lower your legs until they hover off the ground. And then lift them up. Keep doing these, and I will talk to you about them a little bit. Leg extensions are really good for strengthening our legs, strengthening our core. Here, I want you to focus on what's happening in your lower back. So keep your lower back arching a little. Keep the front of your ribs drawing in and down. And really think about the descent of your legs and work to really control them lowering down. This is going to be a lot of strength building for your lower back and also for the front of your core. Do one more of these. And when you get your feet down to that point where they're going to hover off the ground, bring them down. And roll over onto your belly, because we got another good back exercise. Locust pose, or Shavasana, as a dynamic pose. So come down onto your belly, stretch your arms forward, have your palms face each other, place your feet flat, and lift your head, look forward. Lift your left arm and right leg. Straighten your right leg, lift it a little higher. And then bring your left arm, right leg down. Lift your right arm, left leg. Straighten your left leg and lift it a little higher. And then bring them down. Lift your left arm, right leg. And down. Right arm, left leg. And down. Left arm, right leg. And down. Right arm, left leg. And down. One more. Left arm, right leg. Straighten your right leg. Lift it higher. And come down. Lift your right arm, left leg. Straighten your left leg. Lift it higher. And come down. Bring your hands beside you. Turn over onto your back. Or sit up. And stand up. Oh, actually, don't stand up. I lied. We're going to do Dandasana again. So sit down. Sit down, stand up. It's all dynamic. It's all getting your heart rate going. It's all good for you. Dandasana. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Just going to come back to it again and see what happens here. Push down through your heels. Push the balls of your feet away. Arch into your lower back. So think about what we were just doing on our back in those leg extensions. So bring your lower back away from the ground. Move the front of your ribs in and back. And stretch up through your spine. Yeah, there's a lot of work in our upper body because we really are doing 90-degree flexion at our hips here. So to help with that, think about moving the back of your ribs forward. Move the front of your ribs down and back. Dandasana. Relax and stand up. Now I mean it, stand up. Okay. Tadasana. I had to really find some standing poses where we were doing like one leg standing poses, but weren't using our hands for some of it because that's when we really see the power that it takes to lift our legs up or even just to keep them straight. What am I talking about? A little bit of this. Lift your right knee up, lift it higher, and grab your right foot. Bend your left knee a little. Lift your right foot as high as your right hip. You can keep your left knee bent or straighten it. I think having it bent here helps, but if it's hindering, straighten it. Straighten your right leg out in front of you. Push your right foot away, pull on it with your hands. Here you might find you want to straighten your left leg if it's still bent. This is generally called bowing sage. I don't need you to bow forward today. Just straighten your right leg. That's plenty. Bring your hands to your hips now, let go of your right leg, and really straighten it out in front of you. Whew, find your balance, Stephen and everyone else. And think about all the work you have to do here to engage your quads, to push your right foot away, to keep your right leg straight. Now lift your heel a little higher. Move the back of your ribs forward and stretch up through your spine. Right? That's a lot of work. Bring your right leg down. Whew, shake it off. It's that much work that we're talking about when we're doing Dandasana. You don't have to, but if you want to get the benefits of the work, if you want to take part in your practice and learn how to take part in your life, this is how you do it. You do it by practicing, by engaging. Lift your left knee. Pause. Lift your left knee a little higher and hold your left foot with your hands. Bend your right knee a little. And then lift your left heel until it's as high as your left hip. Straighten your left leg out in front of you as best as you can. I know that straightening it and holding it isn't necessarily available to you today. And if you want to straighten your right leg here, you may. Push your left foot away. Pull with your hands. And we'll take the bowing sage into Uttita Padasana, or extended one leg pose. Bring your hands on your hips and extend your one leg. Whew, think about how much work it is. What are you doing here? Engaging your quads, yeah. Lift through your heel, move your back forward, and move the front of your ribs back. Stretch out through your spine. All of that just to lift your leg. Yup. Lower your left leg. Shake it off a bit. And sit down. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Dandasana. Think about that work. Push through your right leg. Push through your left leg. Push the balls of your feet away. Imagine that you're pulling on your legs and straighten them. Pull up on your knees, engage your quads. Move your lower back forward. That's just going to help align your spine with your pelvis in that 90-degree flexion. And it's going to help you be able to move the front of your ribs back, stretch up through your spine, and work to find the natural curves of your spine. Natural curves is your lower back goes in, your middle back rounds a little, and your upper back goes in. Dandasana. Now what's happening to your legs? Straighten them. I know. And relax. Whew. Yeah, take your hands back behind you. Just lean back for a second. Think about that. We're gonna reinforce that a little bit more, and then we'll take it down. Dandasana. Staff pose. When I'm really working strength in my staff pose, push down through your heels, push the balls of your feet away, pull up on your knees and straighten the bejeekers out of your legs. Just almost was swearing there, trying not to swear too much on YouTube. Straighten your legs. Push down through your hands. Draw your lower back in and move the front of your ribs in and back. And then stretch up through your whole spine. So when I'm really working the pose like this, I think about staff pose and I think about Gandalf. And I think about Gandalf standing there with his staff saying, "You shall not pass." And I really think like I've got to be as strong and as powerful and as like really just like, oh, okay, and as intimidating as Gandalf and his staff. And that's what I think of when I'm in Dandasana, working hard. So just like we did Uttita Padasana, we can do that here. So that was one leg lifted. We can do that here in Dandasana. Push down through your left leg. Sit up tall. Lift your right leg up and hold for 3. Engage. 2, straighten your leg. 1, lower your right leg, but keep it that engaged and lift your left leg and hold for 3, 2, really engage it, engage your right leg 2, 1, lower your left leg. Now see if you can recreate that engagement in your legs. Here, when they're on the ground, draw your lower back in, move the front of your ribs back, lift through your chest. Dandasana. And relaxasana. You can jump back or just crawl your way there. Downward facing dog. Bend your left knee, straighten your right leg. Lift through your right hips, lift them up and back. Stretch your right heel down. Lift through your right knee. Engage your right quads. Lift through your right hips and move them back. Stretch your right heel back and down. And then change sides. Straighten your left leg. Bend your right knee. Push through your hands. Stretch your left heel back and down. Lift through your left hips, move them up and back, straighten your left knee. So I'm hoping that you're feeling a stretch in your lower leg here, in your left lower leg. Come down to your knees. Sit on your heels and sit up. Vajrasana. If Virasana is part of your practice, hero's pose, you can do that here. Separate your feet and sit on the ground between your feet. If you attempt it and you're like, oh, I can't sit on the ground, just go back to where we were in Vajrasana. They're both good poses to be in here. Push down through your toes. Sit up tall. Pushing down through your toes helps engage the fronts of your shins, helps engage around your whole legs, which just helps you get a bit more of this quad stretch. Take your right hand onto your left leg and take your left hand onto your lower back. Sit up tall, draw your lower back in and twist to the left. Just do a gentle twist here, roll your shoulders back, stretch up through your spine and smile. And come back to center. Take your right hand onto your lower back, left hand onto your right knee. And twist. Sit up tall. Roll your shoulders back. And come back to center. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Don't worry, you don't have to do Dandasana again. You can actually bend your knees and place your feet on the ground. Place your hands back behind you. Turn your fingers out to the sides. Push your feet down. Push your hands down. Reverse table. Lift your hips up. Push down through your arms. Roll your shoulders back. Lift your chest up. And look up. Reverse table or Padasana prep to give it its Sanskrit name. And then lower your hips. Bring them down to the ground. Lie down. Not quite Shavasana yet. Lie down. Straighten your legs. Bring your legs together. Stretch your arms at your sides. Straighten your arms. Push down through your heels and straighten your legs. Push down through your shoulders and straighten your arms. Stretch long through your spine and arch into your lower back a little. Move the front of your ribs in and down a little. Push your shoulders down. This is Tadasana, but on our back. Supta Tadasana. And relax. And start to find your way into Shavasana. Separate your feet a little bit.
Separate your arms away from your body a little bit. Close your eyes. And start to relax. Our yoga practice asks us to engage more than we might normally, more than we might need to accomplish the goal. Because it asks us to put in our best effort, to inject ourselves into the practice, to take part. Yoga is all about taking part. We practice it here so that we can practice that in our life, so that we can be better at taking part, better at injecting ourselves into the conversation, into life. But now, all you have to do is engage with rest. The way we engage in Shavasana is by not allowing ourselves to sleep, but to rest. To deepen your breath. Move your toes and fingers. Move your ankles and feet and toes. Move your wrists and hands and fingers. Stretch, move as you like. Does really feel like waking up, doesn't it? Bend your knees and turn onto your side. And if you can come up to seated with your eyes closed, it'll just help you finish this process a little more softly. Come up to seated. And come into a seated position with your eyes closed or relaxed. And bring your hands together in the prayer position in front of your heart. We call this Anjali Mudra. Sit up tall. Notice how your lower back feels after all this work. Move the front of your ribs in and back. Stretch up through your spine. Yoga asks us to engage. It encourages us to take part in our life, in your life. It asks you to live your life, to go out there and grab it. Make it yours. Inject yourself in life. And it teaches us how to do this through the practice. By reminding us how much it takes, how much focus, how much effort, and how much we need to be flexible and strong in our body and in our life. Thanks for practicing. Namaste.
Thanks for practicing. I hope this helps you understand a little bit more about how much is really required of you in Dandasana, or at least how much can be required of you. Is it required all the time? Not necessarily. But was it fun to practice today? I think so. I hope you did too. If you've got any questions about this pose, please put it in the comments below, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. If you would like to do another class with me, probably another day, there's a class of mine you can click on and add to your watch later list. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, before you go, just click on my picture over there and subscribe. That would be so awesome. Thanks. See you soon.